All right. G'day, everyone. This is Rangadad. Not financial advice, just the way I'm looking at the market. I use this to help get things straight in my head before the start of the day, which is the end of the US day, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, everything seems to be happening on US time at the moment. Asia still hasn't really come to the party with anything. It seems like they're still interested in their own market, which fair enough. They had some Bitcoin like gains recently. So don't blame them for playing around in the Hang Seng. Interestingly, the Hang Seng the other day put on a few $1 trillion in value, and the stimulus was only worth about 130 billion. So just goes to show you how nuts stock markets can be. So today we, I guess, had confirmation that this wanted to go further down, that this was a recovery essentially of this vector candle. The question is where to from here. Stochastic momentum based on where it looks like, I mean, we've still got 3.5 hours yet, and it does kind of look like we're finding a bit of a bottom at the moment. We've got 3.5 hours, but it's probably still going to turn to the downside. BBWP is dropping at the same time, which is kind of good. It means it might just be a little bit more left in it, and then we find a bottom. The issue with closing anywhere around here is it's in the middle of no man's land. Even if we put SMAs on instead of EMAs, just in case. Yeah, okay. So if Wall Street is involved in this, it could be a retest of the 200 SMA. I don't really like that as a theory, but could be the case. It's just the 50 SMA did provide a little bit of resistance through here, but it hasn't really provided a lot of support previously. I guess it did here a little bit there. Was a breakout and a retest of the 50 there. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's plausible. We have cleaned up a lot of the liquidity to the downside, so that is something to keep in mind as well. I'll just turn them back to EMAs because the EMAs have been useful in the analysis lately, particularly around this area combined with the trend line here, which it looks like it wants to come down to. There is a fair chunk of liquidity down around that 59.5 level. Let's just see where CME is going to end up. Yeah. Interesting. I mean, the target for CME you would think would be the 200 EMA as well. There's a bit of a support level through here. Realistically, I think somewhere in that region, which lo and behold brings the 57K into play. Which is probably closer to the mid channel of the CME channel, to be honest. Let's just do this. Ah, I mean, that there seems like a pretty good level, but it's probably, to be honest with you, it's probably in a range. Uh, Probably a range like that, something similar to that, where it could turn around. Um, so yeah, I mean, at this stage, it looks like down is more likely. CME's still got a little bit to go on momentum, and that is obviously heading down at quite a clip. It takes a fair bit to stop momentum like that on a daily chart. BBWP is increasing a little too, which is not great. Yeah. I mean, the thing overnight was we had just so much buying off this level here. I think if we can clear 61.5 and clear it pretty well, then it's going to look a lot more bullish. Just there was so much trading in that area. And I think if we come back to here, what's that level? At 63.4, it's still not really up to that level, is it? You can see how much this spiked in the last day, though. Just the amount of volume in this area here, which is around that 61 to 61.5. Lots of volume in there now. So, I mean, the value area low here is still a potential bounce as well. I just, with the 200 EMA there, it would make sense to get down to there. And with this trend line being reasonably strong, this is on the bybit perps, it would make sense to probably come into this level, into that 59.5, maybe as low as 59. People are going to be calling 57 at that stage, which, you know, I've been talking about for a while as well. Honestly, that is a good level, but if we're into this sort of region, I don't know that it's going to bounce from there. I think realistically, I think we need to bounce around this trend line here. If we don't see that, probably in the next, it'd be the next 5 days, I would think. If we don't see it then I suspect it's even the next even the next 3 days, to be honest. If we close a 5-day and we close it somewhere down around that channel, it's not going to look pretty because your 5-day momentum is going to be turning down and your BBWP is resetting. To be honest with you, that I would look at that as potentially bringing 42 back into play. Let's cross that bridge when we get to it. It's going to be a bit of a butt puckering couple of days, I think, for bulls. Even on the weekly's still got 4 days to go. Yeah, I mean, the weekly needs to find a bottom, I think, pretty soon as well, just with BBWP so low on that. Although it's been low for this whole chop sideways. This is actually a good thing too. Yeah. The weekly, like you don't have to come from the bottom for a weekly run. Obviously, it can be pretty massive if you do. And obviously, if your BBWP is low and that happens, then you can get pretty massive runs. Yeah, I guess it's just trying to get the thoughts right in my head, which is why I'm doing this. But if we do go on a run to the upside and BBWP jumps, so if we find a base here this week, and we get a bounce off that level, then I would be expecting a pretty decent run. That could push us up into the 90K sort of area. Have a quick look at that. Breakout there somewhere. Yeah, 84. I think we would go further than that just based off the previous legs up that we've had on increasing BBWP. Yeah, as you can see here, momentum in this area can still lead and stay high and lead to pretty decent runs. You'd probably even look at that as another leg up. Let's just have a look at a bit conservative, but we take the first leg. Yeah, could be up into that 100K, 90K region. I think there's going to be a hell of a lot of sellers at 100K, so I wouldn't be trying to hold it past there, put it that way, at this stage. It's the number everyone's got on their lips and in their minds. Anyway, back to the daily. Based on the 15-minute and the 5-minute charts, it looks like we're kind of basing ready for a bit of a move up, but we're still outside of the smooth Bollinger Bands here, which it's hard to get, I guess, bullish from this point until you see a decent close within these, and even until you see them starting to contract. So on this particular indicator, it's when they turn purple. And even still, you can still break below that. But yeah, we want to see decent closes within the Bollinger Bands, probably in the next hour or so, and then a move up. I'm just going to go jump across to these charts. As you can see, we took out a lot of the grass that was here. There was a massive chunk of liquidations in this level yesterday. It's actually come down a little further than I thought it would last night. I went to sleep about there. I closed out the majority of my short in that area. Would have been great if I could have caught that on the long side, but this fucking stupid human body has to sleep. Or it has to live in Australia at the moment anyway. So yeah, look, I thought that might have been the end. It did pick up a decent level there, but obviously the market had other ideas, and this is a pretty good sweep. Now, there's not a huge amount below this. There is a lot of liquidity up into that 61, 62 now. We did have a pretty good bottoming signal, but the bottoming signal was really in this area here. So typically when you get a drop after that and you've got increasing open interest at the same time, typically you'd kind of expect that to be the end. But there's a lot of spot green here, suggesting this is a little bit of a peak. So looks like wants a little bit more downside. This is a very violent candle at the moment, actually. Yeah, that's going. Okay, 60, low 60s is on the cards. If that breaks that level, it's doing it in the first 5 minutes of a 15-minute candle. Big volume coming through. That's why it's hard to get bullish until you close within these Bollinger Bands once you're outside them. Just having a look at all my other indicators here. I still think it's close to a bottom here. 60,500 was a level of interest. What do we got in here? 60,350 is probably, yeah, that's potential bottom. And the reason I say that is if we come down in here, don't have a lot below that on the shorter time frame. Go out to the 3-day. You can see in here, there's still a bit of liquidity here. Just move out a little bit more. We'll go to the monthly. This is the bit that concerns me. So there is a good amount of liquidations at around the 59.5 level, which would just break this low here. And that actually could lead to more selling. That could lead to a cascade that'll bring us pretty quickly down to 57. Whether we actually stay there or not, we'll have to wait and see, but it would seem plausible if we stop at the 57 mark. But again, these are the sort of, I use this for bounce levels for trying to see where it's likely to bottom. So 60,500, there's 216 million there across all the exchanges that this covers. That's a fair target. You get a lot around the 59.5 level, but then a little bit around 59. But then this level here, the 57 levels, pretty chunky. And then we're into the 55s, et cetera, et cetera. Just have a quick look at what the action was around the bottom here. Yeah, I don't really see it coming all the way down there. Just based on the liquidations levels, it's obviously they could come in as it moves down, but realistically, I think there's enough here for it to be interested. And if the stock market rallies, which it still looks like it has the potential to do, then I would expect this to come back up. So just looking for proper basing structure on probably the 1 hour, to be honest. Oh, we swept that. Damn it. I should have stopped out the rest of that short. I'll leave it. See if we go down to low 60s. So, yeah, probably not a bad idea to leave it for a little bit. Don't want to catch a falling knife. So it looks like it's trying for that value area low. 60,478. I would actually, if we come down and tap the 200 EMA and then close above that value area low, that could be quite a decent bottom. It'd almost be a double bottom. It's yeah, geez, it's pushing hard. Honestly, I didn't think there was that much interest down there to warrant that. 60,300 is hit. That was the big order block on CoinAnk. Well, it hasn't fully come into it yet. It's traded a small amount of it. Does it want a little bit more? The big volume candle there. Typically, after a big volume candle, you still will get some follow through. Not necessarily roll over again and follow through, but you would be expecting some follow through. So just see. Fortunately, you got to refresh this and don't get caught out like I did the other day. But you got to refresh this to see the open interest. For some reason that doesn't update live properly. Bit of a bounce here on the follow-up 5-minute. Did that? Oh, yeah, no, it's just updating. Yeah, it looks like it's taking this this big order here. Just a matter of whether it's got enough to bring it back down a little bit further into the 60k level. Another 500 odd, 600 odd BTC. Hard to see it not doing that at the moment, but just wait and see. I think the key with this drop is to be looking for 1 hour turnarounds, 1 hour time frame turnarounds. So realistically, we are not there yet. So 5 minutes left on this hourly candle. Big volume, Jesus. Good volume. Looks like it wants to come into the support level around here, and that's, yeah, low, basically 60k. Seems to be the level. There's not much here for it, which, apart from those big orders on the other chart, there's no real vector candles or anything in here. So that's why I kind of suspect that we might go to 59.5. Let's have a look at what's in there. Even then, there's not much. Your next target in terms of vector candles is 58, 58.8. It looks like it's bouncing a little bit already, but yeah, big sell off. All the momentums are very much to the downside at the moment, obviously. Geez, that would have been a good hourly short on the MACD there, but yeah, let's wait and see. You want to see these Bollinger Bands have to catch up basically, and the hourly's probably going to chop sideways for a bit. Maybe push down into that 59.5, pick up a lot of that liquidity. Lots of vector candles in here though, so we could recover it reasonably quickly too. Which violent moves down like this tend to lead to pretty decent recoveries. I guess that is an exception to that rule. Yeah, it's hard to catch this one and expect a decent return. One thing I will look at is the longs. So yesterday we were looking at this thinking, well, we haven't had this sort of big drop before the next move up on the longs. This might be it at the moment. Surprised it hasn't moved down more than that, actually. It would be liquidating a hell of a lot of longs at the moment. Yeah, a little surprising. see how it does. Where's my other charts? So, yeah, so there is a liquidity block down around the low 600s. Should be getting a bounce at 6K based on this, but support levels are made to be broken. As you can see, it might wick through and then pull back. Hard to say. We get a decent signal on this. Yeah. So yeah, on the shorter time frames, it comes right into that 60K mark as the support level. Look at the volume, Jesus. That's interesting. Was that the target? Just been, oh yeah, hit the target. So the RSI is getting pretty oversold at the moment as well. So keep that in mind. I'm on there, the 5 minute. Yeah, it's still pushing down. Sorry, just cycling through all the different things I've been playing with lately. All right, let's have a look at, yeah. Be very surprised if we don't pick up this 200 EMA. And the way it's going, it looks like it wants more. It wants the 59.5 at least, if not low 59. Interesting, this isn't a vector candle yet, though. There could be more volume to come. Needs a lot more to become a vector candle. Probably needs to get it somewhere up around this one. There. Neither here nor there, I think, at this stage. NASDAQ had a push up, which is good. That's a pretty solid move. Stochastic momentum's back to the upside, and BBWP is increasing. Bullish smart money is in the green. Everything's suggesting NASDAQ wants to go on a run at the moment. So it doesn't look like it's going to hit our support box here. Early turnaround. Market likes to do things to surprise people. Breakout on the S&P 500. Again, didn't do what we were kind of hoping for. I mean, you'd have to think that 6,000 is the target. It's only a few percent away now. Everyone's talking about 6,000. 3% away. I reckon it could hit that next week. If not, well, it's Thursday, isn't it? So, yeah. If not this week. RSP's going with it. IWM, not so much. So it is the bigger stocks seem to be leading the way there. Industrials are going interesting. So see how we haven't actually, on a lot of these, haven't broken below that bullish control zone. That BBWP is fully reset on XLY, XLP too. So that could, like, it's shaping up that we could go on a pretty decent run. October might be alive and well for the stock market. DJI gold never broke through our level properly, so that's good. DJI is going nuts. VIX is coming down. Again, decent level there. Not expecting like a very long-lasting run necessarily. Skew is ticking back up. So again, Skew never really crushed too much, which is one of the things I was suggesting indicated it might not be a huge pullback, but it's hard to pick such a shallow turnaround. This one will be interesting. So the Hang Seng didn't have a huge down day yesterday. Obviously, it started high and finished low, so it was overall in that candle it was 5% top to bottom, but didn't finish that much lower than the previous day's candle. So it could just be market taking a break before continuing down. Today will tell. I would be surprised if we didn't keep going down a little bit. But there was a massive dark pool transaction on this market. So either someone's taking profits after staying in it a bit too long, or they're actually liking that as a buy zone and buying into that. Could go either way. The next few days will probably determine what that was. 2-year, 10 years actually uninverted. So not reading too much into that. 4.075. What the fuck is that uninverted? That doesn't make sense, but anyway. High yield is flat. It didn't really come with the rally yet. So that's a little bit of a warning sign there that this could be a bit of a false break on the stock market. So just keep that in mind. Copper did tap into our zone that we thought, I thought was going to be a bounce zone. It still might have a little bit more to go. Certainly not a bad area to buy in if you think the market is going to keep going, but I think it may get a little cheaper today. Typically, you want copper running at the same time the stock market's running, though, if you think the economy's in a good place. Gold is pulling back. That's a good thing. Might be a little bouncy gold, just because we got these vectors in here, so might be a little bit choppy on the way down. US oil. The US oil's actually tapped into the zone that we have here. It's actually come into this peak here for the W pattern. Do I think it bounces from here? Not necessarily. Hard to tell. This thing moves a fair bit. So yeah, it could just bounce from here, but I'd expect a bit more of a consolidation or a few days around the 0.5 to 618 level. So 72 to 71-ish. Dixie looks like it wants the 200 after all. which means your euro is probably still coming down into that area. So that's the simple moving average area versus the EMA. Be somewhere around here. I think we'll find a bottom. Probably soon, actually, like today-ish. Just because CPI will be coming out tonight, my time, I think. Expect some sort of turnaround there. It's probably going to be a good catalyst. What's the Aussie US doing? Yeah, I mean, this is a solid pullback. Probably expect this to turn around similar to that on the 100 EMA. I don't know that it'll get all the way down to 66. Percentage of stocks above the 50-day moving average has actually increased. So it's interesting that IWM performs pretty flat. No, I guess, yeah. At this stage, there's probably a lot of stocks that are bouncing around their 50-day moving average. So it doesn't take much to lift that. It's still pretty high though, so if this runs up as the market's running up, then it's probably going to be a pretty good indicator of a top. Like if we're hitting that sort of 75 to 80 level, 75 to 85, and the stock market hits 60K on the S&P 500, then it's probably a good selling point. Mag 7's actually flat. That's interesting. What's Tesla doing into its core? It'll be flat. Robo-taxi could change the whole market at the moment. Yeah, momentum's dropped quite a bit on Tesla. Hard to say, given it's sort of still heading down into the bearish control zone. But if investors like Tesla's robo-taxi event, then expect some fire here and potentially push Tesla to new all-time highs, which would be pretty nuts. Well, I mean, that's a long way from there, I guess, but yeah. Otherwise, this is going to look like a pretty wicked double top at resistance. Yeah, I guess this one is probably a just watch and wait kind of move on Tesla. Apple's done well. Bit of a mixed bag across the big guys, actually. Meta's down a little. The Meta had a good break. Still haven't retested this trend line though. Prefer to see a retest on the daily. Stochastic momentum is coming down, so that was a good sell signal on the bullish smart money indicator there. Yeah, so it would be a good thing if this reset, stochastic momentum reset, as BBWP was still sort of moving down, and we retest that trend line at the same time. AMD, yeah, Airbnb is a good run. Those that got on it down in here when I was pointing it out, I wish I had. I think honestly, I'd be better off opening a Tiger Broker account and just trading regular stocks than crypto at the moment. They're a bit easier to read, to be honest. Bitcoin does weird shit. All right, so that's about it. Bitcoin dominance is dropping back a little bit, actually. read across most of them. Not huge drops on a lot of these actually. That's interesting. Most of these are still holding sort of an upward trend line. Litecoin's still struggling a little. But yeah, they're not pulling back a hell of a lot. Bitcoin's doing most of the downside move at the moment, it would appear. Percentage-wise, it doesn't look like that much, but you know, it's sort of breaking trend lines rather than just testing the bottom of them. Yeah, definitely not a bloodbath in the markets. Most of them are putting in lower highs, but XRP, the stablecoin. Look at that. Yuck. All right. I think that'll do for today. Gone on long enough. I got to do some work. I'll catch you later. Yeah, sorry. I'll just summarize by saying I'm obviously more bearish at the moment than bullish. If we do close above the value area low, which is at about the 60,500 level, then that would be a good level for a bounce. Expect some resistance around 61,500. That is a key level on for a number of reasons, not just the EMAs are there. And then it's a kind of a suck it and see. If we rip through that 61,500, then I'd be turning more bullish. If we find a lot of resistance and pull back again, then obviously 59,500 is a level I'm still kind of expecting it to come into, just based on how much this is postured to the downside. And then yeah, looking for a bounce on the 1 hour, really. That's kind of the goal at the moment, is to see if that eventuates. 15-minute is kind of looking good for a bounce. What you kind of want to see on the 1 hour is you want to see a closure above this candle for a start. You want to see closures above the 5 exponential moving average, and you want to see, ultimately, I would expect it to sort of hover around here for a bit, until the Bollinger Bands catch up. So something similar to this. So you obviously chopped around on the hourly for a little bit, then moved up, broke into the Bollinger Bands. But then you do typically get another little pullback, especially the Bollingers haven't started contracting yet. And then, yeah, you sort of want to see that solid move. But realistically, until this hourly Bollinger Band starts to really turn around, not expecting a hell of a lot of upside. If we can break above the Bollinger Bands on the hourly, then I would expect that to be a decent turnaround. Got a long way to go before that happens. Could we just rip to the upside? Yeah, we could, but like, even here, even after these big drops, you sort of, you expect to be testing back around the bottom of the Bollinger Bands. Not seeing anything like that yet either. Okay. All right, that's